The top stories of the week. Oh my goodness, there's some weird stuff going on out there. Let's break this down. Got some Trek stuff, got some European information, got some insights on e-bike stuff, maybe? Anyway, after this, check it out.
Welcome to I Know a Guy Bicycles, hanging out with a guy. This is As the Wheel Turns, So Do Days of Our Rides series. I will be covering topics of the industry as well as consumer views with my 30 years experience.
If you like these videos, please like and subscribe.
Welcome to another installment of As the Wheel Turns, So Do the Days of Our Rides. So these are the top stories that kind of caught my eye this week, and I'm back in the shop, so the palm tree landscape is sadly gonna be another time. But anywho, we are gonna go over a couple interesting things, and a couple of them are based on Trek. So let's do the high gear of the industry news. Pow! High gear. Well, interesting thing that Trek has just done, and they've done this in the past apparently, reading the article. This was actually an article based out of, it's a European publication, mostly I think in England, cycling industry news. I usually do retail, toolkit, wrong company, bicycle retailer. Yeah, cycling industry news. There's a lot of covering of the European. And European market is usually the leading thing in the cycling industry because that's where a lot of stuff, they're heavy into bikes. They love it. It's great. It's awesome. That's where you got the huge trend of e-bikes. Started there first. Canyon Cycles did their thing, and their direct to consumer high-end bikes, which has all been kind of filtering over. So we're the Americans that want to wait till they kind of hash out all the details and we get the gold nuggets of it. But so interesting thing about Trek. Trek is lending money to independent bike dealers, not in the United States, in Europe, in England, basically. London, they have this, what's the name of that shop? I'm gonna butcher this. Balfes. They have like 12, 14, 15 locations, a high-end shop. Here's the tricky bit. They're buying bike shops in the United States, hands down. They want to take more of that margin, which is fine. It's just direct-to-consumer kind of thing, which is the changing landscape of the United States bike market. So you do have your Trek stores, you have your Specialized Zone stores, you have REI and all those. But the Trek used to be like, oh, we're going to protect the independent bike dealer. Well, they're still kind of putting that front up in the European market. Well, I don't think they're yet buying bike shops overseas. I believe Specialized has in the past. Or partnership of that nature, but Trek I don't think has. So they've actually put 2 million pounds, which I think equates to $2.4 million as a loan to be paid off in 4 years or something like that. I'll put a link of the article below. But here's the thing: they're lending money. That's a lot of money. I mean, for big companies, it may not be that huge, but still a lot of money to push into this brand and this particular independent bike dealer in Europe. Well, here's the thing. This independent bike dealer in Europe also carries Specialized, also carries Trek. It usually goes against the grain with a big no-no. So reading between the lines, being a guy from the industry for the last 30 years, some kind of deal is going on to be, they're not going to just borrow money from Trek and go, oh yeah, we're going to buy a whole bunch of Specialized now. That's not going to happen. There's probably going to be some serious guidelines, basically responsibilities for leveraging that Trek has lent this shop a whole bunch of money. Why do they borrow? Are they expanding? Do they have a big outlet, or are they building them up, and this might be a launch of the Trek moving into the European market? There's a lot of different unknowns, but read between the lines, Trek doesn't do anything without thinking about it long and hard, and they don't pull the trigger fast on anything. So this is something, it's very deliberate. It's either gaining market share, pushing Specialized out, because they still are battling Specialized, and that's always going to be the case. Or they're 2.5 to 4 million, yeah, that's a lot to throw at something. So I was a betting man, which I am, go to Vegas periodically, but I don't win anything, small bets. Anyway, I would say they're building up that particular Trek independent bike dealer, building it up and working away how we're gonna dive into this direct-to-consumer bike shop branding that they're doing for Trek stores and launch this out. It might be a couple year kind of push, but that's gonna put Specialized in the same boat. So they've been duking it out here in the States. The next front is the European market, where they want to really have those established pieces. So anywho, very interesting, and came from the European news circuit going, oh, Trek's pumping money into Europe. Interesting. What's the beef on this? And it looks like a pretty cool store. They have multiple locations. I hope it's independent. They just stay that way. They're not going to sell out to Trek as it'd be Trek stores, but I'd probably assume that's probably happening. Anyway, second topic, the high. Now we're going to go into the low. I'm watching TV with the wife and the kiddo last night, and I'm streaming services, and all of a sudden this rad eBike advertisement shows up, and I'm like, heard of rad, I think, or is it rad off of something else I may have known? So I kind of looked it up, and they're doing like the cargo bike eBike thing, and that it sparked my interest. Like, wow, they're actually, that's a big thing, and I've never really heard of this company. And I'm still haven't, I just kind of breezed through the website. I'll put that link down below as well. But here's a couple back notes on this. There's some issues and responsibilities for the cycling community of this whole new e-bike trend. What I'm saying is those batteries, they may catch on fire. You remember the day when those little hoverboards are coming around and all of a sudden they're underneath the Christmas tree, they incinerated several homes? Think about this. The New York City had found this one place that had all these batteries plugged in, and it's like they had to pass legislation to make kind of, not legislation, but like rules, like this is how you're supposed to manage this. And locally here, there was a news story about fire departments now transitioning from training from cars catching on fire that are gasoline to cars that are electric and how to approach those. They just can't throw water on that. So think about it. And this is my little low point. It's like, okay, e-bikes are great. Yes. Are they going to help the industry and they push the market forward? Yes. The problem is there's some companies are jumping on the bandwagon. They're like, are they reputable? Is this kind of like really shady craftsmanship and so forth? Yes. And are they expensive? Yes. So that drives a lot of people maybe getting some cheaper alternatives. Well, here's the big red flags that I'm putting in the downshift on this one is those things, you want to make sure you have warranties, you want to make sure they've been tested, you want to make sure there's some backing. For me personally, to have an e-bike in my house and not burning down my home kind of thing. Yeah, I would really stick to the main brands. I would on this. And also, if you buy used from a shop, or buy used from like the pro's closet, somewhere it's been tested and gone through, those kinds of things. Because it's not just the cost of the battery that might ding you, it might be the cost of your house catching on fire. So think about it in that perspective. It might be a good deal, but you really want to research those batteries, make sure that company's using them legit. Bosch is one of the mainline companies in the cycling community where they put on, a lot of cycling bike companies use them, which have been around for a long time, and they've been tested, tried and true. Shimano used to do theirs, and they some reason stopped making e-bike motors. I wonder why. Because it's a tricky bit in a sense that there's some liability to it. Bosch has really taken over that market, and also you want to get into a bike that has those warranties. So if there's anything that does happen, like a buddy of mine, he bought one of those aftermarket ones, put it on his bike. He had issues. You got the warranty taken care of. But if you bought that used, there's no warranty. You would have to go buy a $400 battery. So keep those things in mind. We're in the wild, wild west where this is kind of shake out with bikes and cars that are electric. So keep in mind, try to make some, if you're buying into those particular bikes, be a little mindful for it, but I'd hate to have you spend $2,000 or $3,000 on something that basically burned down your house when you should have just spent another grand to get something else. And the longevity of these bikes, and if you're transitioning from out of vehicles into riding and using it for community, that's a value prop that can be, or value that can be moved over as that particular bike, which is healthy. So, ending on a high note, that's, look into it. Don't stop, but definitely think about it when you're purchasing those e-bikes for sure. And just don't believe whatever they say. Look at reviews and so forth and try to stick with the reputable brands that have been around. That would be my suggestion. So back to personal perspective for those who are in the market of looking for bikes. Some good news, Trekfest is still going and going. I remember this back in the 90s, we had a Trekfest and Trekfest 2. The Trekfest 1 didn't really kick off well, so Trekfest 2, knowing that Specialized started dumping their bikes back in the fall, and everybody's like, why is Trek not doing anything? And they're holding their cards close to them. It's like, well, they probably put themselves in a better market position where they don't have to really release their inventory and so forth. Well, guess what? Season's supposed to hit, and it has not. Why? Well, several different reasons. Cooler than average. Spring is really cooled my market down along with a whole bunch of other areas. So this is more of a whole national thing. It's really the sales have slowed down. Service is starting to pick up, but bike sales are slowing down. It could be a combination with the economy and all that, as well as a 1-2 punch. But at the end of the day, the season has not started. And it should have started a month ago. So Trek is adding so much more new product. I can't list them, there's too many of them, but they're discounting almost every day a new list of stuff. And I'm getting bombarded by emails of Trek stores and Trek independent bike dealers that are being pushed out. It's like, oh, this is now on sale. Oh, this is now on sale. So they're really trying to prime the pump and get the market and try to get the season started. I don't know if it's quite working yet. People are starting to buy or look around a little bit, but it's still cold. We're supposed to get snow here in a couple days. I mean, it's mid to end of April. My goodness, I'm tired of it. Give me back to Vegas, where the palm trees are. Please, I just think of those days of just sitting there in the hot tub. Anyway, sorry bar. So great opportunity there for somebody that's looking for a bike. The prices have definitely dropped. But also keep in mind how far they have dropped. If it just dropped a little bit, it might be back to where they were before the whole pandemic craziness. So it's a huge readjustment, that kind of thing. So we'll see if that comes to any kind of fruition of like really good deals and so forth. But I just launched a video, which I'll put somewhere, about where do I buy bikes? And how do you approach that? Well, I put a little video together about what I do when I'm looking for bikes on Craigslist, basically. Some tidbits and gold nuggets of that, of what to look for, what to be leery for, try not to waste your time too much. But you can find some gems out there, which I have and I refurbish. But I have some tips and tricks. Watch that video. It'll definitely help you kind of navigate the used bike market world and understand that there's some scary there in my perspective. I may say that taking scary out of used, well, this is what I'm trying to get at. And also my top 20 list of what the things to look for. That's another thing to check out for video series. If you don't have time to go through all those 20 videos, you want to do at least the top 5 checklist here, and just make sure you're kind of prepared when you go out and see that bike in person used. Because a lot of people, me included, I just can't go buy new right now. I mean, it's just purse strings are tight. Markets and job security, all that. Everybody's affected. Milk and eggs are still expensive, and I got kids, so I gotta be very mindful of what I do. So when I'm looking for that new or used bike, that kind of thing, or new or used anything, you want to do your homework and research. So hopefully that Craigslist thing will help you out for the looking for and searching for in your market. It could be applied to different scenario, Facebook, whatever you see used out there. Just be mindful if you have something shipped to you. There's two things. Shipping is super expensive right now. In addition to, you want to make sure those are packed correctly to actually have their best chance of actually getting to you without too much damage or any damage at all. So those are the things to do if you're buying online. But if you're looking at your local market like Craigslist, I do have those tips and tricks on that. That's going to be my tips and tricks for this week. So there we go. Hey, thank you for spending some time with me. I hope you have a wonderful day. As the wheel turns, so do the days or rides. Get out there and ride that bike! If it's nice in your neighborhood, that is. If not, yeah, get some exercise inside. Trainer time, I guess, maybe. Until next time, from the garage, have a great day.